Hi everyone, this is Intuitive Edge. Welcome to my channel. This is where we take an intuitive look at what's going on in our world. So this video today may be a little more lengthy than usual. I try to keep my videos concise as possible within about 10 or 15 minutes, but this may run a little bit longer because there's a lot of information I want to cover before I get into the cards. So I want to talk briefly about a book that I read a few years ago, and then I'm going to kind of relate it to the topic that I want to get into today regarding what cards I want to read. Okay. So the book is called Power versus Force. It's written by Dr. David R. Hawkins. He's a psychiatrist, and it was a pretty fascinating read. I read it maybe 10 years ago, and it talks about his research in psychiatry and how the underlying consciousness of a person determines their behavior. And he also used applied kinesiology to determine the truth and the veracity of supposed facts and claims, and how relating it to how anybody can use kinesiology to test for truth. Now, some people know that as muscle testing. Some people, you test your muscle to determine whether something is good for your body or not. So there's that. But this is kind of like, on the other hand, using that kinesiology to test the truth of something. He took the scale of consciousness and showed where people progress and how we progress upward. And we know that some people get stuck in the lower levels, such as, let me pull it up here, such as shame and grief and apathy, fear, anger, hatred, those kind of negative behaviors. And each of those is actually coming up a step until they get to the point of courage, the lowest being shame. So basically, to boil this down, when your conscious level determines your behavior, what is meant by that is, say for instance, someone is at the level of anger. Their actions will come from an angry place. They will be an angry person. And if their level is at, say, fear, and they're fear-based, then their actions are going to stem from a place of fear, always being afraid or fearful. Same with like pride and arrogance. If they're at that level, then they're going to come from a place of arrogance. So, and the same for when you cross that threshold of courage and move into neutrality, willingness, acceptance, you're going to be a person who, especially if you're at the level of willingness, you're going to be willing to hear other people's point of view. You're going to be willing to learn from others and to realize that maybe you're not all of that. And there's a willingness there, an acceptance there is the next step, and then into reason, logic, and onward and upward, love and all of that. So if you think of it like a V, like shame being at the bottom, and each step up you're going higher, you're also becoming more expansive. So wanted to point that out. There's a way to test humans themselves, and everybody has a little bit of these things in them. You know, people deal with pride and anger and some of the lower conscious level stuff. Once we get to courage, there's neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. And so those are the steps on the positive side. And as we work through those, we enhance on that level, on that scale of consciousness, to become more of a positive human being. And the turning point at courage is the point where you turn from a negative person to a positive force, a positive, more positive human being. with the benefit, of course, being that things begin to work out for you. You're working with the universe instead of against it, and you begin to flow with the synchronicities of life, and things generally start to become better for you. If you want to read his book, it's quite interesting. Power versus Force, David R. Hawkins. It's worth the read. I found it kind of life-changing. It kind of altered the way I thought about things. So I want to kind of take a look at where the candidates are on the scale of consciousness. We kind of want to weed out and see if we can get any information on those that are maybe stuck in the lower realms of those negative energies, or those that have transitioned into the higher mind and are working from a place of love and devotion and compassion for others. That level of courage is the gateway between anger and pride and neutrality and willingness. All right, so the first candidate we're going to look at is John Hickenlooper. Now, I get with him, he's got the Eight of Cups on the first question. What drives them as a person? Now, the Eight of Cups is kind of it's a card of sadness, moving on from something. It's like dealing with loss or grief. So having that as kind of an underlying what motivates you might be something on the inside, like turmoil of emotions or some type of something you're dealing with internally, that may or may not be clouding your vision, but it certainly is presenting itself as kind of a challenge, an emotional challenge. Second question, is this person 200 or above, that level of courage that I talked about? Now we have the Seven of Cups, and this is a card, if you look at the imagery, and I use the artwork on these, I see that dark cloud as you see on this picture, and that to me is kind of like a level or a layer or a line. I'm thinking of like the scale of consciousness when you raise yourself up higher. I kind of get this level. I think he's real close to that, but I kind of get that. It's kind of a negative card too. So I'm kind of thinking maybe a little bit below that line. As a side note, a sidebar, I'm thinking that I'm going to actually get with a friend of mine that does this kinesiology and work with her, and we will do each of these candidates. You know who you are if you're watching this video. I want to get with you because I think it'd be fun to do. But okay, anyway, back to what I'm doing here. Third card. His motivation for running for president. Why is he taking this on? Okay, I'm getting a weird vibe with this. We've got the Seven of Swords. It came in reversed. This is a card about having to deal very delicately and carefully and tread lightly. It's a card of being extra careful, not doing everything all at once, but being a little measured in your steps. And it's kind of wanting to balance things out in fairness too. It did come in reversed. But seeing that upside down on that, what's their motivation? It's almost like you have maybe a sneaky motivation for wanting to be president. Like there's some reason you want to get in there, and a little self-serving I get with it. I don't sense that it's like an altruistic motive, wanting to better the United States. There's something personal with him, and so it feels kind of sneaky. Okay, the lesson to learn, this is the Empress. It came in reversed. The Empress is that mothering, nurturing, caring, and when it's reversed, it can be the lack of, needing to be more caring, more nurturing, more loving, especially caring about yourself, not stressing yourself out or overworking yourself, but treating your body kind and treating others with kindness. And so that may be a lesson for him in this process. Now, the outcome of the presidential bid, will this person likely be the nominee? Now, I get the King of Pentacles reversed. So I don't think that this Mr. Hickenlooper will ultimately be chosen as the nominee for the Democrat Party. I just don't see that with that one. All right, on to the next one. Okay, so for next person is Tim Ryan. The first card, what drives him as a person? Now I've got the Page of Wands. He had no cards reversed, by the way, which is interesting. So I've got the Page of Wands for him. This is a messenger. I feel like he's idealistic, and he has a bright ideas or a message that he wants to get across. And I feel like he's got a vision and an idea that he feels sets him apart from the others. I do feel like he's very solid in what he thinks and believes. But he does feel kind of idealistic at the same time. Maybe a little bit head in the clouds sometimes, but I think he's got a good heart. Broad speaking here, just in general, I think he's a little idealistic, but overall, I don't get like a kind of feeling with him. But let's see if that changes. Okay. So next, is he 200 or above a level of courage? Now, he's got a major arcana, and he's got the Fool card. This is the beginning of the hero's journey. Again, the 0 card in tarot. It's a major arcana. I think that's pretty good for him being above that level that we're looking for. Again, it's not a good idea, I should say, to have somebody below that level of courage that has taken that step into a higher consciousness. So at him being at 200 or above, I'm just going to pause the video for a sec and verify that. So I do think he is above that demarcation line that I've talked about, 200 or above. I think he's just above that. So that's good. He has that going for him. His motivation for running for president. Now, there's a sense of urgency with it. He's got the 8 of Wands. This is a card of things happening quickly, needing something to go down quick. So he's feeling a sense of urgency, like something's really important to him. Either whatever his philosophy is, the direction of the country, or whatever's that key thing is that's really motivating him. Again, with that Page of Wands, feeling like I've got a message, I've got something to say, I've got something, a vision that I think is important. This is there's a sense of urgency with it. So that's his motivation, is like, I got to get this done. It's urgent and important to him. Okay, now the next question is the lesson that he's to learn, the lesson in this. Now he's got the High Priestess. This is the card of wisdom, intuition. So he may have some life lessons in intuition, wisdom, learning about how to read people, how to know the truth of something. That wisdom and intuition, that rock that keeps you grounded, might have some lessons around that. Now, the outcome of presidential bid, he's got the Ace of Cups. So this is, it's again, all these cards were upright. This is a positive card. So he may be, going the distance a little bit. He may get some traction. I feel overall, especially with him being just over that 200 mark, that he's probably one of the better choices. And I'm going to be doing my, check mark or minus, on these guys too. Especially that 200 is really important. But that Ace of Cups on the outcome of presidential bid, that feels good to me. Now we'll see, because there's a lot of other people I want to get to. So we're going to see who might be in that last bit of contender. But I think he might go the distance with that ace there. We'll kind of see where this goes, but it feels good for him. Okay. All right, next. Okay, so the first card, what drives him? Oh, sorry, I should probably tell you who I'm working on. Beto O'Rourke. Okay, Robert Francis O'Rourke. So let's take a look at him. So the first card, what drives him as a person? I've got the 10 of Cups. This is a happy card. Basically happy, things going well. And I think he's basically a happy guy, it sounds like. I feel like he's kind of a little bit like kind of like the last guy, a little idealistic. Although with the last guy, Ryan, it felt like he had like a purpose or message or calling. Beto, it feels more like just kind of just zen, kind of like this just happy guy. Not like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of depth there, but just, I don't know. It's not terrible, but it's kind of just this happy, you know. Okay, drives him as a person. Just that sense of, okay. Not quite careless, but kind of a, yeah. All right, next, level of courage. Has he reached that turning point, that critical mass where you've moved into, and I stopped the video and I did muscle testing. I get just a hair shy of that, just below. And the tarot that I pulled on it was the Three of Swords reversed. Now, Three of Swords is a card of kind of heartbreak, anxiety, stress, and betrayal. Kind of, it's not a happy card, not a good card. Interesting, it's next to that 10. But this is, are you 200 or above? I don't quite get that, and just a hair low. So again, that is my demarcation line that I'm looking for in a candidate that I would say this guy or girl or lady is okay moving forward or no. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. I would get a no on that for the 200 mark. Okay, higher motivation for running for president. We've got the Chariot reversed. Chariot is all about, you know, you're moving forward. You've got the strength of character. This is kind of putting the brakes on that a little bit. This is like a funny energy for your motivation for running for president. I don't sense that there's like that motive is there. Okay. Lesson to learn. We've got the Nine of Cups reversed. Okay. This is that moment where I know what I want to say and I have no idea how to say it. So this is interesting. So bear with me a second. All right. The lesson for Beto to learn. I've got the reverse Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups is the wish card. This is like your wish being granted. It's a happy, and it's interesting because the 10 of Cups was his card. Now, 9 and 10. Now, what's interesting about this being reversed, I almost want to say, get serious. This is like a wake-up call to figure it out and get serious. This isn't high school, this isn't a game. And I don't mean that as insulting to him, but it's almost like the lesson is you've got to get a little more deep. You got to go a little deeper and get more serious. It's not just this, you know, fun, happy, look at me kind of thing. This is a serious thing that you're wanting to do. And this reverse Nine of Cups is like, yeah, you can have what you wish for, but you have to get a little more down to earth with it and maybe draw the head out of the clouds a little bit. I almost get a little airy feeling with him, almost like he's not quite serious. Does that make sense? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. All right, let's move on. Outcome for presidential bid. We've got the suspended person. This is the Hanged Man. It's a major arcana. So, now he could get a little steam, maybe go the distance. Again, we're going to see once things kind of boil down a little bit, who's still hanging out there. But he might, and again, he's got some people backing him. He's got a lot. He's got some wealthy people, at least from, I did a reading on him a while back, and I got the strong sense that he had some very wealthy donors that preferred to be nameless, but they were backing him. And I suspect that that's still the case. So I don't know if he'll go completely the distance, because the suspended person, the Hanged Man, is about giving something up in order to gain something. So he may find himself maybe at the end having to give something up to gain something, maybe, I don't know, vying for VP, I don't know. But I don't get a strong sense, but we'll keep an eye on him and see what happens. Up next, Amy Klobuchar. Okay, what drives her as a person? She's got the Ace of Swords. That is a mental clarity, mental quickness. I think she's a very black and white person. She likes truth and justice from her point of view. And Ace of Swords is all about getting to the bottom of things and setting things right. I get just a very driven personality with her. 200 or above, turning point. Now we have a reversed queen, so it doesn't initially look good. I haven't muscle tested it myself yet, but I would say probably not. Her motivation for running for president, I've got the Three of Swords reversed. Now this is like, there's some emotional connection or turmoil with this. Like it's something that's like really near and dear to her heart, but that sense of betrayal or lack of trust or some sort of painfulness with this emotionally feels rather draining. So there's something behind it with her that feels personal, like a personally slighted or betrayed. And I think she's working off of that energy. So not exactly a great reason to run for president, but it feels like a very anguished kind of feeling. All right, lesson to learn. She's got the Tower. Tower card. This is a card of things falling apart or blowing things up. I'm wondering if her lesson to learn has to do with the way she deals with people and learning how to not be a wrecking ball when it comes to dealing with others. I think I get this sense, again, with that Ace of Swords, that driven. I think she is kind of like, she comes in and this is the way it's going to be, and I've got great ideas and everybody's, needs to be on board. And maybe that softer way of approach is maybe a way that that lesson and amidst all of this for her to learn. That Tower can be really harsh, and this is like things, you got to be a little more sensitive and careful sometimes, or things just fall apart. So I think her lesson maybe is maybe some self-awareness as to how her actions affect those around her and ultimately the outcome that she's seeking. Okay. Last question, outcome for presidential bid. We have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. The Nine of Pentacles is about feeling of success, accomplishment. As a reversal, it's not getting what you want, not feeling that success. So ultimately, it doesn't really feel like this is a great fit for her. But we'll see, where she goes with this. But again, doesn't seem to meet that level of that 200 that I'm looking for. Yeah, I'd have to give like a negative on this one, but and ultimately getting the Democrat nomination, I don't think that that's going to work out for her either. So, okay, next. Okay, I probably should mention, you guys probably assume this or know this, but these are not my personal opinions on these folks, okay? This is just what I see in the cards and what I get intuitively, okay? It's not my endorsement saying that vote for this person or that. I can give my opinion like what I would do, given this choice or this person, maybe this person I would choose. But okay, I just had to say that. All right. Next person is Marianne Williamson. Okay. All right. So, first card. What drives her as a person? She's got the reverse Queen of Swords. This is a person who feels that they see and perceive injustice and want to put things right. Now, the Queen of Swords reversed can be a little, it's a little bit harsh, a little bit challenging. Now, the reverse Queen of Swords can bring out kind of the negative aspects of the Queen of Swords. And as a reversal, I just want to read off my little sheet here. When you have the reverse queen, you've got dishonest, a little possibly bigoted or intolerant. So that's just on the downside of that reversal of the queen. But I think it's more talking about this thwarted sense of justice. I feel kind of a little bit like going her own way. So interesting. All right. All right, above 200 or below, that's the level of courage, that important turning point. Now I've got a reversed Page of Cups on this one. So Page of Cups is a messenger. I've got a reversal on that. I did stop and do muscle testing on it, and I did get above that critical level. But that reverse Page of Cups, I'm wondering if there's still some evolution on her part that's going on. So there may be a message about that level right now. Maybe it's in flux. Okay, with possibly all of this playing into that, could be a flux in that level that she's at. Okay. So motivation for running for president, we've got the medicine wheel. This tells me that this is feels like this is part of her destiny, or something about wanting to change the world through her purpose, and things are aligning, and this is how she wants to impact the world. It feels like it's part of her karma or fate to her. Okay. Lesson for her. Now this is interesting. I got the same card that I did for Beto O'Rourke. And the feeling I got with this card with him, and I think it's the same for her, with that reverse 9 of Cups, it's like, you know, to have the happiness you seek, you got to kind of get out of your own way and get your head out of the clouds a little bit. Come down to earth, be a little more realistic. So that may be that lesson for her. Outcome for her presidential bid, we do have the Queen of Cups, and it is upright. So we'll see. When I look at this intuitively, I don't get the sense of that forward, moving on, or yes. It feels kind of like sitting back, having to take a seat. So I don't think long term that she'll ultimately get the nomination, but there is some momentum there, though. This is an upright card, and it is a queen, so there is some type of power or force that's with her. But whether that is enough to pull her over that finish line, I'm not 100% sure on. So, all right, next. All right, next, Bernie Sanders. What motivates him as a person? What drives him? He's got the 8 of Cups. There's a card of kind of a sad, having to move away or walk away from something, a sadness, a difficulty, a challenge. He's probably motivated, again, some of that inner turmoil I sense. Inner turmoil, grief, those kind of feelings drive him. Yeah, it feels like a heaviness with that. 200 or above, is he above that turning point? I get kind of right there. We've got the 3 of Cups, which is a yes. When I muscle tested, it's kind of like right at that turning point. So he's kind of right close to being like on the fence with that question. Higher motivation, or his motivation for running for president. That's interesting. We've got a major arcana. We have the Death card. This is a card of transformation, powerful change, wanting to be a change agent. So I think that whole socialism thing that he has going is a big motivator for him. He wants to instill radical shift and radical change that would be very much of a transformative type of change, not just superficial. This is like big, major. So that's his motivation for running for president. He wants to change it very much, change the country. His lesson to learn, 7 of Pentacles. This is a card of the value of hard work, kind of valuing what you've worked for. And I think that's really quite interesting with somebody who's a socialist, is learning the value and how to value what you've worked for and the value of what people work for. Where to place your values, how to understand what you value and how you value things. I think his lesson is all about values. Lots to learn in that arena. Outcome for presidential bid, likely be the nominee. Got the 5 of Pentacles on this. I would say that doesn't look too good. 5 of Pentacles. This is a card of gotta be careful with taking risk. And that's not a real good card to have on an outcome. You know, what's your outcome for presidential bid? It's not a great card to have for that. So he may have some real challenges ahead with that. So I think as he continues to work on that, learning the value of things, the true meaning of values, there's a lot there that's pretty deep, and I don't want to get into that now, but yeah, so it doesn't look too good, I don't think, for the nomination for him. Next. Pete Buttigieg. All right, so what drives him as a person? He's got the 4 of Pentacles. Reversed. This is a card of holding on to something and being overly protective, territorial, and this card reverse is like trying to control something that is eluding your grasp. I get kind of a control freak. Wanting to be in control and be in charge. And sometimes the people that have that need to be in control are the ones that feel the least in control. I get a sense that he doesn't feel in control, but he's trying to get control of himself, I think, the most. I did a reading on him before, and I'm getting that same sense with this. I get this feeling with him that he's got a lot of internal conflict, and it's kind of clouding him a little bit. And I do sense that he's got a big chip on his shoulder. Comes out when he talks about, like what he talked about in the debate. He's got a big chip on his shoulder with regard to religion and Christianity and God. And I think that he's got some internal conflicts that he needs to resolve, his issues that he has with religion and in general. I think he needs to settle that in himself. And I think that's clouding his judgment a lot, because that's kind of like right in his face, and there's a whole world out there when you're president that you got to deal with. And if you're focused in on this lens that sees everything through this filter of whatever version you have of religion, and it's clouding you, you got to get that out of the way if you want to be president. And I sense that he's got to wrestle with those demons that he's got. And I don't mean literal, but you know what I mean. He's wrestling with something internally, and he's got to get through that. Otherwise, it's just going to hinder him in the whole process. So, all right, 200 or above. He's got the 2 of Cups reversed. It's just like a divorce card. It's like, so I would say maybe right up there, but not quite. And again, I haven't tested it. I don't want to take too much time because I know this video is turning out really long. So try to move through these. Motivation for running for president. It's got the Emperor reversed. Again, that is that Emperor reversed. Oh my gosh. The Emperor reversed. Emperor is about taking charge and taking control. When it's reversed, it's someone who is out of control. They're trying to get control, and it's harsh. I do think that he's got that inner stuff he's got to work on first. Not saying he's a bad person, but I think taking time out, working through his issues, perhaps with a therapist, whatever that is that he's got to deal with that. I just sense that he's got to work on his issues. All right. Lesson to learn. He's got the World. And I think this is important. This is like you've got the world ahead of you. Don't let this one little thing keep you back. You got to work through that. I do think he's got some, you know, charisma, and he, you know, there's some good there that he can work with to be impactful in the way that he wants to be. All right, outcome of presidential bid. You've got the Empress reversed. This is about needing to take care of yourself, needing to be kind and have that mothering, that compassion, and to not let, you know, nurture yourself, take care of yourself. And part of that is working through your issues, working through those things that trip you up inside. That's part of that self-care and self-nurture. And as a reversal, it's like that's what you got to work on. So that also Empress reversed, I would say that's probably not real good. I mean, it is a major arcana on the outcome, but it is reversed, so I think there may be some challenges there moving forward as far as getting the actual nomination and crossing that finish line. Might be a little shy of that goal. Next. Okay, next, Steve Bullock. I have to admit, I don't know who this person is. I just know they were on stage last night at the debate. So, Steve Bullock. Okay, first card out. This card keeps coming up in the same position for people. It's that Eight of Cups again. This time it came up reversed. Eight of Cups. So this is again feeling like needing to move on from something or having some inner turmoil that's kind of driving you. So a lot of these Democrats, I think, have the same drive born out of a need for change, wanting to make a change of some kind. I mean, to walk away from something, change something that, yeah, motivated by change in a turmoil kind of way. All right, 200 or above level of consciousness. I've got the Nine of Swords. Doesn't look real great for that. This is kind of the card of anxiety. It's the card of fear and anxiety. And that's kind of what we were talking about. That level of courage is rising above those feelings of anger, fear, anxiety, that kind of thing. So I think he might be kind of stuck down in that still. Still has to work on making that leap of consciousness. So I would say probably not. Make my little check mark there. So next card, motivation for running for president, Seven of Swords. I had this again with someone else. This is like, you got to be careful. It's like a delicate situation you're dealing with. You can't just run in and knock everything over and redo everything. You got to work with what's there. Got to work with what's in front of you. But that motivation of again, there's a tricky, kind of a sneaky feel with that. So he may have some ulterior motives also for wanting to run for president. Maybe there's something he wants to do once he's in there he's not really being completely honest about. It's possible. All right, lesson to learn, Knight of Cups. This is about negotiating, making an offer. It's about bringing something to the table. I think the lesson for him is learning how to negotiate, learning to be a good negotiator, a good diplomat. Possibly there's some strengths that he could learn in that area. How to give and take. Again, negotiating, you're learning to give and you're learning to structure things so that there's a win-win for both sides. I think there could be some learning, some lessons there in that. Outcome for presidential bid. We have the Six of Wands reversed. This card upright is a card of recognition, and reverse is like you're not getting recognized for what you want. So I don't think that's great for that question of the outcome, for getting that, crossing that finish line, getting that nomination. Doesn't look real good for that. Okay, next. Next is Elizabeth Warren. Okay, first card up, what drives her as a person? She's got the Page of Swords. So I get that she is full of ideas. And she is somebody who lives in her. She's got a lot going on in her head and a lot of ideas and a lot of, she thinks in like concepts, a little idealistic in her thinking, but she does have some ideas up there that she wants to convey. And sometimes it might be difficult getting those ideas on paper or getting them out, but she's got a lot up there, up in her head. Okay, a lot of ideas for her. And that drives her. Getting her ideas across is really important to her. Okay. 200 or above, I've got the reversed medicine wheel. And I haven't muscle tested it. Being that it's a major arcana, I would think maybe she's close to that. Shooting up above that. I might come back to that. Maybe I'll test it, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to keep moving on. Motivation for running for president. She's got the High Priestess card. Card of intuition, wisdom. This is a card of like wanting to be on the inner circle. It's like a desire for higher wisdom and higher knowledge. I think she wants that honor, that prestige that comes with being president. I think that's important to her. I think she's probably one of those that values a person's degree. You know, if they've been to college and they've attained that master's degree or that PhD, that like puts them a little higher ranking in her mind. It's like if you've done that, you're a little higher. It's not that she looks down on people that haven't, but it's almost like rank is important to her. It's important how that appears. And so having those, you know, having that PhD with you or that master's or that's important. And I feel like that title of president would be like the ultimate, you know, like that's like achievement for her. It's like a goal, an achievement, getting that. But it's also being on the inner circle too. She likes kind of being in the know, I get with her. Being on the inside. Okay. All right, so lesson to learn. She's got the Two of Cups reversed. Two of Cups reversed. Two of Cups is about partnership. And when it's reversed, it's like difficulty with relating to people. She might have some challenges with her wanting to get ideas across that may be challenged with her lack of trust and misunderstanding can come with this. So it's maybe getting out of her head a little bit and learning to kind of relate to people a little easier. Something with relationship building, being a little more heart and not so much head, I think is her challenge, her lesson. Okay, next, outcome of presidential bid. Now I did a reading on her before. I had her really solid. I've got an Ace of Pentacles reversed on this. So it'll be interesting to see because I had her really strong before. But this is kind of like, well, I don't know. So I don't know if things are changing with this. The Ace of Pentacles reversed. But I'm wondering, well, I'm going to probably do a separate reading again on her because I thought she had some really strong energy with that. I think she's got some things to work through right now. I think she's still a contender though. Definitely she's still a contender. I think she'll be one to beat. All right, I'll keep going. Okay, next, John Delaney. All right, so what drives him as a person? I've got the Queen of Cups reversed. Queen of Cups, when it's reversed, is kind of an emotionally manipulative type of feeling with it. So I'm wondering if what drives him is a need to structure and can be in control, or be able to have things the way he wants, line things up the way he needs. A little bit of structure and control issues, I'm thinking, that kind of drives underneath. 200 or above, the level of courage, the turning point. I got the 7 of Cups reversed, which I don't get that he is. And I paused the video a second ago and muscle tested it, and I kind of got just a little hair below that threshold. Motivation for running for president. And I've got the anxiety card. 9 of Swords. So there's some type of feeling of anxiety that's leading to this, or the motivation behind it is somehow connected with anxiousness or grief or fear of something, wanting to get ahead of something, and maybe being driven by, I sense like a fear with it. Fear of what happens if, if that he's got to step in, because there, I just sense a fear. There's a fear involved. Lesson to learn. I've got the 7 of Swords. Again, tricky card. Having to walk delicately and be gentle and careful, and understand the steps it takes to get what you want without being like a wrecking ball. Again, it's that card again. That 7 of Swords is that trickiness, which can be a little bit dishonest or conniving. And so the tendency to get what you want by dishonest means could be something that might be his lesson in this. Okay. Outcome of presidential bid. He's got the 7 of Pentacles reversed. This is, again, a card of values and holding what you value, looking over what your accomplishments. And as a reversal, it's not really looking good for the outcome for presidential bid. So I don't sense that going forward with him. All right, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. Boy, that was a lot. I know this is a really long video. I tried to make them quick, but you know me, sometimes I just gotta talk and I gotta ramble on. So try not to do that too much. But the ones that I would give a check mark to is in safe vote, someone who's over that threshold of 200. For sure, the yes I got was Tim Ryan. Ones that were questionable were Marianne Williamson, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren is just a hair right there. The others, I don't get above that threshold that we are looking for. So, and again, this is the scale of consciousness. You want people who are above the level of 200, which is that level where you turn from a negative person to a positive person. So, or a more positive outlook, and growing into that enlightenment. All right. Okay, that's hefty. That's it for now. A long one. I'll probably do another one tomorrow because we got 10 more people to go through. So hope you liked it. If you do, if you hung with me, thank you. We'll catch you next time. This is Intuitive Edge. Bye for now.